Gen Zs always have to be fluid to adapt.
I would say that you brought out a very interesting point. It's allowing them to express themselves.
AI is
AI, okay.
There's a big thing, and for them,
To share about the hierarchy because they don't believe in hierarchies.
that's right.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Yes Academy podcast. And over the last couple of episodes, we have been talking about the consumer buying behavior for the boomers, Gen X, and also Gen Y. And today we are going to have Jonathan with us again, and we are going to talk about Gen Z. Very interesting, Gen Z. Now, let me start off first, right, Jonathan? Now, Gen Z, how much focus is your company putting into Gen Z?
They are the future. All right, they are the future, and so what we do on the retail side is to build an identity where we attract them.
Do you think Gen Z can really identify with certain brands, or they prefer not to be attached to one brand?
No, Gen Zs don't attach to.
Yeah, as compared to Gen Y, right?
No, yeah. Gen Zs don't attach to a brand. They buy fast and leave fast. They switch very, very fast.
Oh yes, they are.
Yeah,
impulse, in terms of impulse.
Exactly.
So let's talk about the characteristics of Gen Z.
Yeah,
Based on your,
that's one of their characteristics.
correct.
They'll buy fast and switch fast because they want authenticity in whatever they do. The Gen Zs are more identity driven. Okay, where we have the millennials being meaningful driven, or they buy into meanings. These people buy into identity. They buy into brands. They buy into things that is the order of the day. I mean, yeah. So they want to tag themselves to identity, and it is very difficult for companies to stay, connected. If you have to stay connected, then you have to be fluid to adapt always. Fluid to adapt always in your marketing, in your advertisement, because the Gen Zs will easily switch.
Oh yes, and because of their fast pace, the changes that they are looking into, and companies, if those companies cannot adapt, and if they are targeting Gen Z, and if they cannot adapt, they'll be in big trouble.
I understand that they are those having less physical connections. Why am I saying this? Because the Gen Ys become obviously busy, and they give birth to the Gen Zs. So there's no physical attachment, and so they are born with phones in their hand.
Oh yes.
Right.
And some parents actually, or some Gen Zs, they actually have they started very early.
Very
early, as compared to even Gen Y or even
Exactly.
the other generations.
Exactly. So they are very impatient. They are very impatient. If you're dealing with them, always be fluid to adapt. Get feedbacks from them. What is moving next? I mean, they are not looking at the product you're buying, but they're looking at the identity. You have a product coming out, and it's not going to. They are not going to buy the product. But what if you attach a dance move to that product in your reel and in your content?
Oh,
it's all about a dance move. They're going to buy that identity, that dance, that makes them feel happy. Okay, they're going to buy that, and through that they buy your product.
Which is very true. And not only that, they have their own lingo.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And I believe the other generations won't understand
It's difficult to understand.
So that's why they are kind of difficult to understand. Then how can companies, tailor and or adapt their messaging according to the Gen Z?
I love what our company is doing. Employ them.
Sorry?
Employ them.
Employ them. Okay.
Employ them. Let them take the lead in your management, because they understand the languages. And if you look at our company, 98% of our staff, of our management staff, are Gen Zs.
Wow. How do you find managing them?
Difficult, because for them, there is no gap between a boss and an employee. There's absolutely no gap. I had one of my staffs call me, "Hey, Jonathan." All right, but you must be able to accept their identity. You must be able to accept their ways of doing things. Oh, if a Gen Y who is not fluid to adapt here's an employee calling you by your first name, "Hey, Jonathan," then that becomes a serious trouble. But for us, we got to understand this from the beginning, and we know that they are going to change the face of how things are being run, especially now that AI has become so very, very powerful. They understand it more. Employ them. If a company wants to be relevant in the next 10, 15, 20 years, please don't be employing the Gen Ys and the Gen X. Sorry.
Yeah,
Employ,
because I believe the Gen
employ the
Y
Gen
and
Zs.
the X, they won't understand
Mm,
the Gen Z,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I also understand in terms of the purchasing power, right? Gen Z may not have the purchasing power now, right? And because they don't have the purchasing power, so a lot of, and also because companies don't understand Gen Z, because this is a totally different generations and where they grow up with technology in their hands, practically in their hands.
I bet to differ a bit because Gen Zs are now the ones having now the ones going to be more powerful in terms of purchasing power.
Okay,
And
please explain.
yes, and
Yeah.
it is because of innovations. It is because we live in a connected environment, a connected economy. So you look at people, young generations, they are building apps, they are building AI tools, and this is what is changing the face of the world. They are holding today's money, and they will hold tomorrow's money as well. Yeah.
Very interesting, right? We are going for a short break, and after we come back, we'll continue with the discussion on Gen Z. Be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Let's continue our discussion with Gen Z. This is a very interesting generation because it is very, very different as compared to the boomers, the Gen X, and also the Gen Y. So let's continue our discussion with Jonathan. Now, when it comes to, for example, we know that Gen Z, they are very fickle-minded. Okay, very fickle-minded. So what kind of messaging that will stick with them, at least not for a short term, but for a slightly longer term? But will stories, because you're talking about stories for Gen Y,
Nah.
will stories work?
No, not at all. It's all about identity. And for Gen Zs, you always have to be fluid to adapt. You always have to be fluid to adapt. That's why I made mention that if if a company really wants to stay relevant in this era, employ the Gen Zs because they're always fast moving. They're always fast switching with things, with the way they like things. And it will be difficult for us as the Gen Ys and the Gen Xs to adapt fast at their pace. And so the only way you can stay relevant is to employ them.
Ah.
Is to employ them.
But the problem is this, right? If you want to employ Gen Z, but they don't stay long in an organization because based on my discussions with a lot of bosses of different industries, they say they have a tough time. Number one is hiring Gen Z. Number two is that getting them to stay on for the longer period. So how can we go about it?
No, and so one of the things we do in our business is we just don't employ them. We don't see them as employers. We don't see them as employees. Sorry, we actually see them as partners. And
Interesting.
yeah, and so it is not just necessarily work. I think next year we are flying most of them to have an experience in Guangzhou. All right, and so we don't just treat them as employees. They feel at home. It's a lifestyle. We make them dress the way they want to dress, but smart. We don't use the old system to govern them. So one of the ways that companies can at least hold them is to allow them, give them that opportunity to express themselves.
Mm. And when it comes to business also, I would say that you brought out a very interesting point. It's allowing them to express
Express
themselves.
themselves.
So which means that, for example, when it comes to engagement, online engagement with them is to allow them to express it
That's
and
right.
to feedback to the company
That's
and
right.
to let them just share their frustrations or
Yeah.
their joy or whatever
Mm.
online. And that is where company will need to be able to have people who will be able to engage with them
That's right.
in real time.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Very interesting. Now, that is where, in terms of communication, they're all online, right?
Oh, social media.
Social media. What about the mobile
Yeah. I mean,
apps,
apps, AI is the
AI?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. There's the big thing, and for them, they are looking at faster ways to make things so easy done. And I mean, we are moving from one way of doing things to another, and it's moving so fast. The Gen Zs are very, very practical, and there are things that they do that will shock you. But the most important thing is running at their pace. And if you want to run at their pace, you keep them closer.
Mm.
You keep them closer always.
What about the use of influencers or key opinion leaders, KOL?
The use of influencers will mean more to the Gen Ys than it is for the Gen Zs.
Mm-hmm.
For the Gen Zs, they are, much as they buy identity, they are looking at what is really moving for them. But for the Gen Ys, um, influencers, I mean, they want a meaning to what they do. So they look at an influencer, okay, I can get myself tagged to. Yeah.
Okay. Do you all use influencers in your business?
Um, we are looking at building a brand where all the communities will trust us, okay, or all the generations will trust us. Yes, I think some part of our people or some side of our business we use influencers because it will bring a lot of meaning to people.
True,
People
true,
will
true.
will find their identity through these influencers. But a greater majority is we using the internet and using the social media platforms to reach out.
Right. Yeah. 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 Good. 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 Because recently, I was shooting an event, and it's a wellness event. They were actually launching two new products targeted towards the children. And what happened was that they invited influencers, and they, of course, they gave the influencers back to them and allow the influencers to consume the product
Mm.
and let them do a review. So I was very curious, and who are these influencers? And these influencers, some of them are motherly, right? Because of course, one of the target market are the parents, but also some young ones.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's why it got me curious, being very curious, because I was like, oh, they have different target markets, just like you all also. That's why suddenly I remember, why not? Does it apply to you all, where you're calling influencers and also to be able to have a different market because the influencers will have their own market.
Yes, yes. The influencers of, just as I mentioned, I mean, we live in a connected economy. All right. And because of the internet, because of social media, the world has become
Yeah, very, really small.
really small.
Yeah.
So if you have people who have a lot of community and connected to a lot of community, as a company, it is easier to sell. All right. So the use of influencers is very, very critical. not just for just one generation like the Gen Zs,
Yes,
but
correct.
also for the Gen Ys.
Yes, very true, very true. And not only that, now let me just step with you on this question also. Now, do you think, right, Gen Z, when it goes in terms of going international, will that help to attract them into the business?
You mean with our business?
Yeah, your business in relation to your business, right? Being attracting Gen Z that they can actually go international.
Yes, our business is a borderless business,
Mhm.
borderless way of doing things. I mean, um, we have agents in over 46 countries so far, and people can be building their businesses all around these countries.
Mm.
All right, it gives them the platform to connect to not only people within their jurisdiction or people they know within their jurisdiction,
Mhm.
but also other races and other cultures. Yeah.
Good, right. Yes, so yes, few points that I managed to pick up from Jonathan for Gen Z is that if you want to understand them, hire them.
All right then.
And
All right
also
then.
they are fickle minded. They change their minds very fast and they don't stick with one brand. So please remember, yeah, your company, your organization will need to adapt the messages as you go along also because yes, Gen Z, they are very fickle-minded. They change things very fast, and if you don't like it, and one more thing also is that please do not have certain to share about the hierarchy because they don't believe in hierarchies.
That's right. That's right.
Right. Yeah. That's it about Gen Z, and please remember to comment, like, and subscribe. And we will see you in the next episode. And in the next episode, we are going to talk about the Alpha generation. See you.